Live drive, live...
What happened to picture?
I don't know what happened to picture.
Back.
And you must let me know forward or back or... No, but I mean in terms of whether you need me to move. Because as they move, I'm trying to guess that it's clear across like that little one. That baby sitting in the sun. Move forward. But I guess... Saturday afternoon in Africa. I don't even know how to start talking because this is our second last afternoon. I mean, tomorrow afternoon is going to be I don't know. Tomorrow afternoon will be more than just a drive. This is our weekend afternoon drive. A lot of people who don't join us on weekdays probably miss out on a lot of what we've been chatting about the last few days, and of course most of what it is the last drive tomorrow for this series of drives here at Thornybush. I can't help but think about the people who've joined us for these drives, the people who've rejoined us, especially the people who've come from another live drive that we did a few years ago and who have become part of their lives in such a way, in an inextricable way. Because even though for a lot of people who have been on our drives and we've never really met, and I know that all the crew feel the same way, that a lot of you touch our lives in a way as so we have met and we become old friends over that little bit of time. So I can only hope that we can find ourselves in another part of Africa one day, doing what we're doing here, to learn a little bit about other parts, other beauties, other magic kingdoms, to learn why we need to understand why we need to conserve the breath we breathe, or the air rather, because everything breathes it and everything is dependent on it. Just not only that. I can envisage that as we get to the point where there's so little left of our planet, that something like this, a medium like this, will become so important for the rest of the world to see what is left, because anything short of this is not telling a story. This is telling a story. We've been in one place. This is a second place. Different game reserve, different dynamics. But it would be interesting to see if we could take this concept and just do the whole of Africa and see Africa's interpretation of it. But it doesn't even hit home, because there's still all the other continents that are being threaten for whatever reason, natural resources and indigenous species. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Hello, boy and girl. Mom and child. That must be quite a late lamb. I almost can't even notice that Nyala rump. I think it's a Nyala. They've gone. Did you get them far? Another one up at the top of the road. But that Nyala has now stepped forward. Tis but a dream, and it would be nice if that happened. But it's been a pleasure being part of it. There's another Nyala bull. His horns and can't really see him too well. Oh, he's out. Got his dorsal crest raised now. I don't know whether he's displaying. There's a male on our right in the reeds. I'm going to try and move into the shade here, Andy, and we'll get a better view of him because they might start doing a strut. Oh, sorry, Impala. He was displaying to someone. Not this one, because I can't even see this one. Oh, just me starting the cars. Changed his posture, he's relaxed now. Must be another bull in here. Yep, there he is. The youngster. The little boy. Oh, I don't know, that might be nice too. That's sounding a bit tight. Yeah. Or is it the bottom? No, not the bottom.
Good afternoon, I'm getting mobile. Any visual? Good afternoon, Ryan. North India.
There's the bigger bull at the back.
Okay, copy that. Thanks, Robbie. Where are you going to pump up? I think I'm going to pump up north. This afternoon. Why? Is he where they or Skankank or what? There's a normal falls in Gala there, and they say them. Okay. Copy.
Something's not right. Find out. Fun. Oh. This is pressure. Yeah. Okay. Sounds like 7's up again. Might have to turn the sound down when a question comes through. Yeah, but I think just for people's privacy then. Yeah. I also want to. We need to go and look for these ellies just through this forest. Oh, there's some impala, but we'll see them later. Not playing ball.
Is it not switching on or what?
Never mind. I've got also not only a couple more drives with everybody on the drive, but a couple of more drives to get some really fantastic shots of a reminder of our time here at Thornybush. And so, well, I'm just trying to get those, but there's one not working. The right eye is not working, or rather the left eye. Right eye when you look at it. But David, right eye is not working. Switching on. It's switching to video mode, but it's not reacting to the record button at the top. I can't record on it, and I can't record in 3D. Well, I can just do a 2D with the right lens.
The best thing to do would actually
To what? Turn it off. Why are you doing that? Not after that camouflage job. But I can try something else. Let's listen for eddies. Pardon? Take two. Take two. Take two, a front GoPro. Beep, 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 beep. It goes to the camera. Goes to the camera. Video. Video. Bye everybody. Not working. Back ones are working though.
Yep.
It's supposed to be working. Okay, well, so we tried. I want to reflect on 2 months of being at this pan. This at the time when we started live drives. Of course, the guys were here before then. But when we started live drives, this was wet. This was a little marshland, and that female saddlebull stork used to spend every day here. And she had a chick on the nest. We never saw the male. Oh, I don't recall. I think maybe once we saw. Yes, we did. We saw the male once here, and that might have been the time when he lost his mate, because it was just before we found the feathers of the chick. And that was just such a sad story that we had the storks are the bringers of life, they're the bringers of babies, and they had this baby stork. It was brought by a stork, and it was killed by something, and then Mom fell prey. The baby was killed by, I think, a leopard. The Mom was killed by a martial eagle, or the other way around. I think it was the other way around. Irrelevant. They both perished, sadly, for this family of storks. What's good news for this little corner of Thornybush is that there's a pair of black storks that seem to be taking an interest, and it's possible that it might have flown overhead at times in that very, very stark black and white and black and red shape, or coloured bull. Yeah, black and red shape. But that black and red coloured bull with just stark warnings to black storks flying over saying, no, we've occupied saddlebull storks here. Now that they've gone, there's some black storks that are moving in. They are not that common. They are not a species that I've seen very many times in my life. It's been a pleasure. Just along here are trees. There's one just in front of us, beautiful big tree known as an anna tree. The Faderbia. It took me a while to believe that Faderbia grew this far south. It's been a very special part of our drives over the last few months, this little patch of what we call Albedo Pan. We found buffalo resting here in these grasses, right beside a broken down, or rather the remnants of an old borehole pump, one that I live on right now. My pump house looks very similar, except poles are still up and there's still an aluminium sheet on top. But that's how I get my water, with a little diesel pump like this in the middle of the bush. This, obviously, the diesel pump and the motor and the pump, an old lifter, by the way, obviously have been removed, but the plinth is still there, and so is a bit of the structure. But this was a wetland, and so it was only natural to drill for a borehole here. There's another spot just further ahead where the same thing has happened, and that's where reshaped and
You're back.
And we're back again. Welcome to the world of wonder and imagination. We embark on a journey through a tiny little patch of the African bushveld every afternoon and every morning. Cameras wrapped around this vehicle, recording things. Interacting with wildlife from all cities all over the planet who want to view the animals. Was that too subtle? Not wildlife, but welcome everybody. Such a wonderful opportunity. Over time you've felt my passion. You've learnt my frustration. Good afternoon, you mobile.
Tom, come in.
Hello, Tom. Elephant
right?
track.
No visuals, just we'll go after my jet there, 6 down. I'm going to go north.
We were at the market
Yeah,
at 6 dam. See, I can interpret that language. We was asked this morning, why is it a whole... Why is it a whole radio language? Right, question. Let's drop the volume. Copy, thanks. So Dan in Baltimore. Baltimore, Maryland. I think David pronounced it better than I can. Maryland. And of course there are all sorts of things to talk about, like the Orioles, who I think we've mentioned, and the fact that we see Orioles here, and I always am reminded of them. Anyway, Jane wanted to know about the dry season, how long it will last, when will it end? What? Oh, you see something? Elephant. Pardon? Elephant. Yeah. And will it look much worse than this? This is actually looking very, very good, by the way. This is looking fantastic. For July, I have to tell you, I don't think I've seen the bush looking like this in 30 years. I said that in the middle of summer last year already, after 2 really good years of summer rain. The thing is, we don't know with Africa. We could go into a drought. Right now we could be entering a drought, and it's Africa's time of abundance to prepare for it. Who knows? But it's still looking good, and there's no way of knowing when the end of the dry season is. I guess in the past the earliest rains come in around September. Sometimes you wait till November for rain. And even though things come into bloom around August, September, October, the dry conditions exacerbate the potential for developing seed, or rather, they just make it impossible for flowers to pollinate and seed and germinate. And so you go into a drought where nothing grows in the soil and there's no rain, and been a long time. It's an inevitability, I would imagine, that being part of Africa, we experience it from time to time, and it's been a long time since this region felt a little bit of it. And look at the bush at the moment, it's dense. One of the reasons why we've hardly been seeing things. It is wonderfully thick, and the grasses are still green, believe it or not. That's from a little bit of untimely rain that we had recently. But there's trees coming into bloom. There's like things acting like it's spring in the summer afternoon. No, okay, not summer. UK summer. Finland summer. It's a midwinter's afternoon in Africa, and it's probably in the high 20s. Wonderful. Never know what the weather's going to bring us. We've got this wind right now at the moment. Thanks, David. We've got this we've got this weather right now that is bringing a pretty strong wind from the north-northwest, and ordinarily that's the wind that brings weather. I wonder if we need to listen for Ellie's down here. We'll go to... Okay, let's listen.
I'm going to make my way down to BMX coordinates of this morning.
Shall we move on? I'm not hearing anything yet. Fred, I'm on Mangwa, trying to do the same.
I'll send in that mobile, can I have a quick update? You asked the question?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Not
say
yet.
that again, the outfit will Louis Fan. Yeah,
Stand by a sec.
Updating the outfit, but let me stand on my back up, stand it off. Tot ik het uur en doe het stapje kwijt. Dat is open line.
Okay. Elephant tracks. So I need to find them, but now I'm lost. Elephant. What was the question? You were saying in the soundboard. What beautiful autumn. It's like autumn this afternoon. Sorry, David, you have to repeat that. I got so sidetracked thinking about other. But you know how distracted I get. I just got distracted thinking about the time when I was in California on the west coast, same time in Los Angeles. And they should know if elephants can keep lying down. Yes, they can. There are we got to go BMX corner. Brad, where are you now? I'll go down to BMX corner and have a look. Well on, cut back. So sometimes these can lie down, and also they can only lie down for short periods. Because there's one other thing you have to consider, and that is that elephants' digestive system doesn't really allow them to sleep for lengths of periods like we do. They've actually constantly got to be taking food in. So there are only periods of that may, well, they've indeterminate time, but it's usually for maybe a half hour, maybe an hour, maybe even 2, sometimes only 10 minutes. I've stopped for like what is just a breather. They all put their trunks on the ground, put their heads down, and they go. 6 minutes later they're up and they're awake and they're moving on. Perhaps enough respite for whatever lies ahead for them, but there's never a set time. Well, they need to sleep 20 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. They do what is needed on the day. One day you'll find them sleeping for 5 minutes and another day for 5 hours. No, not 5 hours. Never happened. 5 hours. Nonsense. But different weather, different conditions. When it's very, very hot, invariably in the heat of the day, in the shade of some of the biggest leafed trees, which tend to be things like baobabs and sausage trees and the rain trees, they stand under those trees at the base of the trees and their heads loose, and sometimes the children play at their feet, and most of the time the children are fast asleep in the dust. They sort of wiggle themselves, this little sort of hollow that makes it very comfortable, like a little bed, and they got all them, well, they got their mom and their aunties around them, and they're more secure than any baby in the bush. So well protected. So they could have headed down the drainage line. I haven't been looking to see if they're tracked across. The first time I started looking at tracks, since I'm supposed to be helping Brad track these areas. My guess is they've gone up to Longwan Dam. Okay, yeah, or they're tracked heading west, northwest, straight to Longwan Dam. Hope we can catch them there. Go ahead. Surprised you with that one, didn't I? I don't know the answer to that one. Elephants, we're talking about a few thousand square miles. I mean, the elephant here in this part of, obviously Thornybush is excluded from this statement, But I can only speak from the evidence that I have gathered. Brad, come in. Oops. Brad, come in. Konzo seems to go from Nanzan up towards central and then northwest. Looks like they're headed towards Langwan again.
Oh, beautiful. I'll head down towards Langwan then.
Okay, I'm coming in from the east, from sort of Upper Inner side.
Okay, copy, no problem. And the sun is coming? Very well.
We don't have time to do this really slow, bumpy road. We need to get around to the dam. Crunch. Only sit back in the sun in our eyes. Sorry, I got completely. I had to do what I had to do. Call in those tracks because Brad's looking for them and he can help. More tracks crossing over, going away from the dam. Stuck. Our track's heading east there now. Dinosaur crossing there. Another dinosaur. Yo. More Massachusetts. What, did the Red Sox win or something? Or was that only Boston? But hi, Dawn, Massachusetts. What are we listening for when we stop and listen? We're listening for branches breaking, trees snapping, grasses moving. We're listening for elephants. They are very, very quiet, as we often find. but every now and then, especially this time of the year, they need a lot of roughage. And they're breaking branches and saplings and uprooting trees. I think they've been to the dam already. Wait, let me not talk. Yeah, signal stop. I won't talk the rest now.
Just want to something. Take that dam walk extension.
Wait. Oh.
Fine.
Just something out here at the back.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so heard all I needed here for now. Now where was I? How do all things to do? Ask a question about a kudu stripe and whether a kudu stripes are like a zebra stripe, that each one was an individual, and I said yes indeed they are, and so we actually started looking at kudu stripes. Now back there we actually see kudu a little bit more but I've still remarked on their stripes, and I even thought of it one day to create something like the kudu barcode, and I was saying that you could have just sort of this kudu barcode where you didn't have to draw a whole, you just have to draw the stripes and recognize immediately. And we noticed that there were these kudus every now and then that had a stripe across, and I used to call them kudus, I think it was. I think that is the understanding my kudus, stripes touched in such a way that almost what's it, mitochondria, no? Is it now? Let's go down Nanzan. Again. Hello, babblers. What am I doing? You must do your therapy. I promise I had nothing to do with that earpiece broken. I know I've been getting mad with it, but I was... No, I'm corner. I'm on Nanzan heading back down to the sort of BMX corner. I'm going to double check now. But definitely I'm Mkonzo on that sort of link road between Nanzan and Central, heading sort of west, northwest.
Mark, my land is just off me now, but it's actually on Langwan Road, Schlitzimaloa, going east towards BMX side.
Is that over the movers from this morning?
I think it was on top of everything.
This junction reminds me of a spot called the Treehouse Dam Road, or was it extension of Elephant Skull that went to Treehouse Dam, where I witnessed a sad story of a mongoose. That's buffalo. I thought it was buffalo. Sounded like buffalo. Obviously crashing a bush with his horns. And I have to be honest with you, I'm happy to stop and look at these buffaloes for a little bit, but they've got their heads in long grass, they're pointing down towards the drainage line, and they've got these... Hello boys. Oops. Sorry, I gave them a fright. Big rumps that stick out the grasses. I still want to go further north, look for Ellie's. Our last Spain afternoon drive tomorrow. The last drive is going to be a little bit different. I don't know how it will be different. Maybe I'll try and keep it sane and keep it the same. But it's coming front of flesh. It's going to feel weird for this whole week coming up. I'm going to still wake up in the mornings and listen to those lion calling in that half sleep, or leopard calling in that half sleep, or elephant breaking trees, and I think, great for this morning. And then, of course, there's no drive, so we ain't doing it no more. really like to find those ellies.
Vivian in Chicago. 5 kilo.
In Chicago. Oh gosh. Brad's talking about hyperemia. Maybe the ellies on that side of the dam. Anyways, Vivian asking about primates. Do primates have more of a human type sleeping pattern, or is it just more like a cat nap type thing? And no, definitely more like we are primates, but it's more like we have a primate sense of. It's more like we have a very typical primate circadian rhythm as opposed to primates having it more like us, because there's certainly more primates out there than there are. We're just one species, we're just one human. But there's so many other primates, the great apes, the monkeys, the baboons, and all primates, whether they're bush babies, aye-ayes, or any of our primate family, nocturnal, diurnal, the sleeping pattern or the circadian rhythm is very much the same. It's either diurnal or it's nocturnal. And it requires a certain length of time of sleep to rejuvenate the brain and the body. It's possible because to some extent our brains have to work so hard, not so much that instinctive inheritance, not so much of an instinctive behavior in our lives as much as it is learned, and so our brains have to operate. Plus there's our diet. That, coupled with the fact that our diet is what it is, means that we can eat something and require time to digest it. And in that period of time, unlike a ruminant which can't really sleep because it's still got to be processing the food, even if it's not selecting the food, it's still got to go and lie down and chew the cud. We don't have to do that. We're able to have food that is of such a wide variety that it takes time for our stomachs to digest it, and that's why we can take time off of doing everything and sleep and rest the brain, because our brain is so preoccupied with calculations every day, calculating how we're going to get that next meal. And whether you're a banker on Wall Street or you're a game ranger in the Thornybush, at the end of the day we all got to eat, we all got to do the same thing, and that is we've got to earn money to buy food and eat, so that we can sleep, so that we can get up in the morning and work to earn money, to buy food, to eat and sleep. Okay, other primates don't have to do that. They're just going to go and find their food. But it's a similar concept, that they're awake for a certain period of time, during which most of that time is spent occupied by finding food. And if we weren't so industrious and we didn't have this concept of working to earn money to buy food, we would be out there hunting and gathering all day till we had enough food. We wouldn't have to work. All primates, I don't think there are any exceptions. In fact, I think all primates have a circadian rhythm that requires them to either be active at day, or in other words diurnal, or to be active at night, in other words nocturnal. And for all the other time they fast asleep, and they need to replenish their energy levels, digest their food, and rest the brain. So taxing on the brain to be alive. For most primates. No tracks of these ellies coming this way. I better put the radio. I was on the wrong channel.
tracks here, just past that monument two tracks. They crossed over.
They went the spillway of Longwan Dam and they didn't cross this road. They went almost due north perhaps. They haven't crossed this road. Down to southeastern now. So I only really want to find the Ellies because there's not really much else that we can look for. And looking for them, we hope to find other things too. Of course, this makes it difficult because I'm going against the sun, and that makes it difficult to look for tracks, but I'll try my best. Yebo.
From Meda.
No. 3 meters, perhaps, maybe 3.5, close to 4 meters, never 6 meters. I don't think the kudu has ever done 6 meters. I think that's physically impossible. 6 meters, like 20 feet, that's like over a giraffe's head. No, can't happen. Prove me wrong, I dare you. I just can't see a kudu launching itself so high. I just can't see a kudu surviving on those little... No, I can't see that weight. That doesn't work that way. You see, there has to be a limit to how high it can jump because of the strain on the legs and the muscles on the landing. So if it goes too high, it'll break its legs. So it's like a tumbler pigeon. You know, Darwin played with tumbler pigeons, and he found that if you breed a tumbler pigeon so well, that you'll breed a tumbler pigeon to tumble itself to death because you keep harping on those tumbler genes and crossbreeding the best tumblers, and eventually you get these tumbler pigeons that tumble to the ground. I think that's why they call it Darwin. What's it? Darwin Award thing. Actually, no. Darwin Awards is those people who remove themselves from the human population and their possible procreation. There is a squeak happening on the river. Konkapan is dry, not dry, but dry of elephant track. The high fell so they can jump. Otherwise they'd have these huge, and then of course the bones get thicker to handle the height, and then with thicker bones they can't jump so high, so it's a very that from sometimes. There's a limit to how kudu can jump, and I don't think 6 meters is it. 6 feet. Oh, 6 feet. I can do 6 feet from it. Nice little marula tree. Very clear red crown on it. But it's going to keep moving, and the higher it goes, we can't see it. It's like it'll be so. Choppy, choppy. Bird come in. Oops. Anything your end?
Nothing, yeah. That shakes the guy. Looks like they head towards Zanzan, but I've left the block. I assume it's anything, but I don't see anything else there.
I'm also puzzled. Wonder where the depth is a lot. It would be nice if we could get there. And we're still looking for the Ellies. A little puzzle. Aha! No. No.
Cheers, Tom. Good luck. I'm going to go north. Okay, thank you. Check. I did, obviously.
Okay, since these are fresh tracks and I want to listen, I want to also just put my foot in these tracks. Brake on it.
Stand by, man.
Tracks of 1 and 12 going north up Hyperinia.
Okay, back on Central Cut line now. I'll make my way to the south and just have a look see.
Okay, copy. I don't know why it's going south. It's clearly a very fresh track over here. We were here, everybody's here with those buffaloes this morning. And that is one bull heading north. Oh. There might be others crossing this road. I don't know what it is that's squeaking so much now. The new possible dry dust brake squeak.
Any station, maybe give me an out there, lost tracks of like them going east whereabouts. Elleridge Tonga area that they go into. That's good. Yes, it is. No, it also the block then up to out. So according to Tom, they went from the link from the prison spot that goes straight across. They went from the prison spot that goes to Elleridge Road. They went down there and then straight towards that Torchwood for the Makoti Khan and into the Tonga there.
Yo. From Bevan on from Christopher Miller.
Hang on, please wait, David. Slumbinyari east of Langwandam heading towards Central Road.
Mark, commit.
There you go.
As it is, still no luck there in the what you say? Not into the block between Central Catalan and Nanzan. But nothing comes out. I don't know, you check BMX corner side.
I did, but that's where their tracks head towards Langwandam from this morning.
Okay, copy. I don't know if they may be in the block or level.
And then I saw them also when they headed to the spillway from there, from Langwandam, and then from there it looks like they came sort of up towards Hyperinia.
Okay, copy. Then yeah, check there one Konka as well, just see if you can get a direction.
Time to listen.
Passing two Duggar boys here on the Jacobery airstrip.
Good for you. Just past a breeding herd. Go ahead, David. From Massachusetts. How big do buffalo get? About 800-900 kilograms worth. Don't think they quite reach a ton, maybe. But no, 800-900 kilos, I think. 5 foot at the shoulder. Still not hearing anything. They've confused quite a few of us. No, not fresh. The thing is that their tracks are heading north, and this is sort of our northern line, so you're already going to start losing signal. I think they must have crossed the road somewhere in single file. Sun in our eyes. That's another song. The sun gets in your eyes. Something close to that. The sun gets in your eyes. Who was that by? Talk to me, elephant. Talk to me.
Yo.
Not David, elephant. Yes, David.
How?
In Niagara. Do elephants get two sets of teeth? No. No. If only had two sets of teeth, they would die before they were 20. So nature gives them 6 sets of teeth. I mean, very interesting. Adaptation, I guess you could say, an interesting adaptation to a very fiber-rich diet that adds to tooth wear so incredibly that if they only had 2 sets, they'd wear their teeth down before they would be able to mate. Okay, well, see, it's not always cut and dry, it's not always as easy as it seems. Sometimes we follow their tracks and boom, there they are. Sometimes we follow their tracks and we don't know where they are. Middle of thicket. Of a twig. Sometimes I can just hear just the stripping of leaves from trees, or the shuffle of their feet. Sometimes at night I can lie in bed at home and I can hear them shuffling without even snapping a twig or eating a leaf. I just hear their feet shuffling out. Like an old man in his slippers. A four-legged old man in slippers. With very big feet. Just shuffling along the path by my house. Past my house. And then I wake up in the morning and I go and put my feet in their footprints. Well, time has come to go up to this little open area. We can't find it. Maybe I'll hear it up for the sunset coming. Should have switched the engine off. Sorry. Let's get real. Start looking at the sunset thing.
Western Link, Torchwood, North Loop, that area. Bonjour. Bonjour.
Chula buena. That goes through 5 menus, and that goes through 2. Maybe they're just playing Tetris. No, but it's only recording on one eye. Is there a card in the other side? Yeah. Not working. I can do it with one eye. It's not gonna work. No cloud in the sky. sorry, I'm fiddling with the camera, folks, but it's not playing balls for some reason. I don't know why. Their behavior is as temperamental as any animal on Earth. I guess you could call GoPros these temperamental animals. Electronic animals governed by all sorts of things that are beyond our ken. I'm still not hearing an elephant.
Okay, just I want to know. Already, solar and concrete bridge. Just I want to go around here. I can say the same, but still, in Kashani and concrete bridge. Okay, fine. That's number one. Okay, coming in.
Tomorrow's our last chance to catch up with some of our characters. I was able to get Ellie's early this afternoon. We could go back home and see the giraffe and zebra and wildebeest and zebra. So we can't stay long, we've got a long way to go. But gosh, at least we see something. I know I missed the buffalo. Oh, we know him, we've seen him. This is that bachelor group of boys. this boy crossing our sunset. He's the one that's got the little growth on one of his horns, his ossicones. This dark one here is one of the boys that's constantly fighting with him. Sparring, hey. Hello. They're just good buddies, I think. Always sparring, knocking each other, pranking. And you, the little one that's always looking on from the side, I think. Goodbye. It was nice to meet you. Made a huge difference going around that side of the tree, didn't it? Quite magic. signal anyway
One
here.
thing I'm not one. Stop, don't go.
Leopard in a tree. Oh, sorry. Well, they haven't fixed this important little road. And they've done all the others. Okay, signal should be coming back by now. And it should have signal by.
215 dB.
Pardon?
15 dB.
Oh, so we're strong again.
Yep.
Okay, just a western slope that I had to deal with to get back to our area. Area that I've got with grassland. We've been there a few times. Becky and I were there a few times. But there's only sort of one road in there, and then it's a long road out. Sometimes it's just easier to take a shortcut back to the signal route back out of that. Anyways, inconsequential. Welcome back. Excuse me. Meter 1 Mark 0. Once again. Once again, it's proved one thing that because even a tracker with his guide or guide and his tracker or a couple of guides just also they have the ability to track the foot. I'm thinking maybe they might have come this way. Maybe we'll be lucky and bump into them on the way home. They did go north from see somebody. It's Brad! That's quite cool. Cameras to the. If there was one person that would be here, it would be you.
Hi, man.
Hi, everybody. Oh, ladies.
Hi, man.
Good.
Well, I think we go for a year, man. I swear, we've been sitting here for like 10-15 minutes dying this thing.
I don't know what did I hope I did something funny.
Yeah, you did.
Whatever that may be. We are doing our penultimate live broadcast from. Yes. Hello, Lucas. Hi, young Paul. Fine, and you?
I'm good.
I'm on Zoom, but Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're on leave?
No.
See?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We move on.
And then from here?
I'll go back to Mansonville. I'll go back to my elephant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm sure we'll keep in touch. I'll still
Yeah.
try and see this boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, then. You were listening, yeah.
Well, I've been everywhere looking and haven't found, and the only things I've found are tracks coming in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they're sitting in
And they did a single file across the road.
Yeah.
It wasn't that broad movement, it was like tiptoe across the road. Mind you, don't put your too many feet on the road so these guys can see your tracks. It's like put 1 foot here and so there's one elephant that crossed, meanwhile that's 20. Yeah. Funny, I came up Mangwa and I stopped and listened, but
the buff also is.
yeah, that herd of buff is also coming through. So yes, we've been doing a live broadcast and we've been interactive. So actually my viewers are watching me right now.
Oh, is it?
That's why we point the camera away, because I don't have your permission to put you on camera. And they email in with questions and I answer their questions. So it's a live interactive. So we've got all 4 3D cameras and we're also producing a 3D series about Thornybush. And you've got a lovely sunset. I'm not going to disturb it any longer, especially in the company of such lovely ladies. WildEarth.tv. WildEarth.tv. Yeah. But this is the end of our live. We do have a lot of live cams all over the world that are on animals and water holes and things that are actually operated by some of our viewers. Some of them are pan and tilt and zoom cameras, so they can zoom in on a lilac-breasted roder's face if they wanted to. With digital technology these days, it's quite amazing. Great educational tool as well. I've been in live with schools all over the world that have had kids asking questions at real time. But yes, tomorrow our filming comes to an end. Our last drive tomorrow night. I have to see these Ellies, so I hope they don't go north again, but they look like they are. But those 2 male lion also walked far this morning. I know, because I found their tracks early this morning on Dombaya, coming onto Bushwillow, and then when I went home this morning, you know where the green tanks are? They walked up towards those green tanks this morning. South. So then they must have turned from there and then come from Waterbuck, come all the way up. That is far. Anyways, I'm using Nyaleti to go home. No. There were small set of tracks that I found on southeaster this morning, but that's Mafazi. That's from yes. This is actually quite auspicious or serendipitous. The first night we met, you was having sundowners here. I was with Rob, and we had just closed down, and I thought I was facing home, and I wasn't.
Another Land Cruiser out there, eh?
Yes. Billy's another notch in my belt. Another Land Cruiser rescued by a Land Rover. Okay, my viewers are waiting for me to say goodbye to them this evening. Saturday afternoon. Bye. Yes, indeed, do so. And hopefully one day we'll find another place to be live. Enjoy your safari. I hope you see. He's a good man. So.
Cheers, Mikey.
Cheers.
Look after yourself.
Lucas.
Have one.
Sorry, folks. I think of all the guys that have been here, Brad's been one of the most friendliest and helpful and everything. Even if he was the first Land Cruiser we had to pull out of the mud. And I'm glad I bumped into him. I still think it must be buffalo, maybe not the. But we'll come and look tomorrow. We might be lucky and catch Malawan female heading back towards the river down one of these roads. We have 4 roads to choose from. First one coming up is Mangawan. We're going to skip Mangawan. What did I do that made the girls laugh? I think I just lifted my head and said hello. Or something. Lifted my hat, sorry, picked up a stick. Reverse to drop it. Should drop it. There's another way to maybe drop it. that made it worse. Okay, sorry, before I say goodbye, let's remove this noisy stick. I think it dropped of its own accord. You know? I think it dropped when I stopped dropping the roll. Okay, yes, the pop fast, but see, just dropped off on its own accord. Okay, so whew, our penultimate drive. Not going to be on the one to go home. We're going to go towards where we the very first time saw the Malawan female. I know we all had expectations that we were going to see this leopard a lot. We were spun stories of how much they saw her and her boys and her whole family history, and we wanted her to be the new Karula, and I very much doubt whether they've seen, well, they have seen her a few more times than us, because there have been times when she's been close on lodge. I'll give them that, but she's proven to be far more elusive than I think she's been given credit for. As well as her son, we've had some wonderful moments with her youngest. I don't know what happened to the other boy. I heard from our neighbour next door in Thornybush Safari Lodge that there was a young male leopard that seems to be hanging out there and in the buffer zone. Could be the brother. But I was so hyped and so convinced we were going to have a good time with her, because what it was weeks after being here, a couple of weeks after arriving and being live, we were up here, we'd been following her track, and I was still dependent on the map quite a lot, and we came around one of these corners and there she was walking in the road, and we followed her to a little water hole, and that was the first time we lost signal live with the leopard, because it seemed to be a trend. A lot of times as soon as we found an animal, it was just the edge of signal range. So it looks like that's been dragged today. That's interesting. From there, make it nice and smooth. Quite ironic that tomorrow's our last drive, and now suddenly all these roads that we would have had to drive on are all being worked on and are going to be super smooth from the day after tomorrow. Go figure. So I hope you can join us drive tomorrow afternoon, but if not, tomorrow will be another drive. Tomorrow morning, 5:30 we wake up, 6:30 Central African time. We're out there again, and I don't know I haven't decided what we'll do. We'll listen to sounds during the night, see what I can hear. I'll try my best. I hope we can find a leopard. Ellies might be moving north, so it might be that this afternoon was our last chance for them. I don't know. They have proven to turn 180 degrees. They might come back south, so we won't bank on them leaving, going north of this road, but in case they do. And we can hope that maybe there'll be a leopard or a lion, something to say goodbye to, but other than that, we'll concentrate on trying to find things that we've become accustomed to here at Thornybush over the last couple of months, and we've viewed them for the last time. And hope we bump into some of these wonderful characters. So, from me, and babblers, as it's called, and all the animals. Andy's been on camera. Andy really, I was hoping to show him elephants today. He's never seen. I mean, Andy's been doing all this editing and hasn't spent time with Ellie's. I'm sorry, Andy, I tried. I solicited the help of Brad from Jackleberry, and between us we failed. But we found some buffalo and giraffe, and we had a nice drive. So, see you tomorrow. David's been in FC. Aaron's had a break. In fact, I think he's been holding up the tent. Yeah, right. That's our last Saturday night. Bye, everyone. Well, till tomorrow. I'm trying to stay off for saying goodbye and hoping that it's not a goodbye but a farewell, but not today. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Goodbye.